And I hope y'all are ready because it's time for another episode of At Week's End, the spoiler-filled look back at this week in comic book fandom. And we're looking at everything from new comics to the Badlands with Predator and the Sadlands with The Last of Us and everything in between. And we are going to do it right after this. Joined as always by Sector 2815.
What's going on?
Nothing much. That was a fun intro to say. I just came out of the head. The Badlands of the Sadlands. The Last of Us was really sad.
Did you see? I guess Prime was thinking of doing a Judge Dredd series, but now they've kind of shelved it again.
And they're rumoring that Carl Urban is going to be
they've shelved it again now. I read that this week that they shelved it.
Stuff takes a long time, but I regularly, almost at least a couple times a week, is a fair statement. Think about how they did announce in green light that they're going to be putting together a RoboCop show for Amazon Prime, and at that point in time, I'll definitely be not resting on my laurels anymore and put the stupid app on my phone, guys. I have to watch that one right when it drops.
Right.
Yep. Seeing Thunderbolts on Wednesday, and it was seeing. Hey, we guessed right. It was between an 8 and a 10.
There you go.
Right in the pocket. Right in the pocket, Joe. You remain consistent, and that's why we love you. But we can also think about it this way. It's barely better than Snow White is what Joe is telling y'all. Barely better than Snow White. But big shout out to Joe. And shout out to everybody in here. Appreciate y'all. The early birds. Glad y'all are here. I do want to remind y'all that it's con season. It is convention season. It's rocking and rolling. And this year, Comics Curing Cancer will be at Heroes Con yet again. June 20th through 22nd. Tickets are on sale. There's going to be tons of members of the community there. You can follow Heroes Aren't Hard to Find on Instagram and keep up with the guest list. Every day they're slowly making posts announcing numerous guests that are going. It's going to be a fantastic show. This is the last great comic convention that exists. There's a lot of good ones. There's a lot of big ones, but this is the last true comic convention. When you picture them in your head, how if you've never been, this is it, a ocean of comics, an ocean of books, comic creators. It's just a blast. There's gonna be a lot of people from the community there, so make sure y'all come by booth 1766, I believe it is this year. It's right pretty much where we were last year, but we got some stuff cooking up for that. We've already announced the community art book. I don't know if it's got a lot of actual pros and stuff this year, more than just the community. So it's just like the Comics Curing Cancer art book 2025. A lot of people, they're pretty much all at bare minimum amateur comic book artists at this point. It's pretty wild. It's pretty cool. DJ really put in a lot of work tapping resources and networking over the past few years to put together an impressive lineup for that this year. There's going to be some pieces that really blow your socks off. I really recommend people checking it out. And I'll just say this. I recommend going to that booth like quick. You might want to be one of the first people to go check out that booth. If you plan on coming by at all, make it one of the first things that you do. Fair warning. You've been warned. And also, description of all my videos has a link for Big Time Collectibles. They're dropping all kinds of cool stuff right now, as well as Justin Comics if you need anything cleaner press, and ABX Comics and Games if you need a place to set up a pool list so you don't miss out on new books every week or want to get into tabletop gaming, all that good stuff. Even if you're not an Augusta local, they do the mailing list and all that, so you never miss out. They are the community's comic shop, Augusta Book Exchange. There we go. And I got to tell everybody, don't forget, hit the join button, get in that channel membership. All the people in the Legion tier are added to the Legion Loot prize every month. And I showed that off in a video from this past week, the CGC video. I'm very proud of this one. Some really cool stuff in there, including the entire Frank Miller Dark Knight Returns, as well as signed Frank Miller CGC stuff and some other cool stuff showcasing different artists. But yeah, and some really cool modern Frank Miller variants.
Next Sunday.
Is that next Sunday?
It is next Sunday.
Shoot, I better be here then. I want to say hey to the few people in the chat. We got Christina Payne popping in early. Hey, wonderful peeps. Hope you're having a blessed day. So far, so blessed. Hope you are too. Pop, what's happening? DJ Link's throwing those custom emojis. You get access to those from the channel membership. You have been recruited by the Star League to defend the frontier against Zur and the Kodam Armada? Kodan Armada?
Kodan Armada?
I don't know. Star League. Remind me of the Last Starfighter, but that is that Star League in the Last Starfighter? Maybe, might be. AR, what's going on, homie? Freaky Louis in the building. Yo, Freaky Louis dropped a little post today. Cracked my wife up. Cracked my life. Yeah, there we go. Last Starfighter. Got it. Yeah, such a great quote. Evening, folks. What's going on, Johnny? But he did like one of his little song renditions, and it was definitely Turok in nature, which was hilarious. Yeah, Last Starfighter. I gotta watch that. I haven't seen that in a long time. Good stuff though. But yeah, let's get into it. There's some fun stuff to talk about. Not a ton of stuff, but there's a few things that really stood out to me. And obviously, if I missed anything, feel free to bring it up. I do want to point this out though. We mentioned this last week. This character right here from the Superman behind the scenes. I know there's a lot of stuff online about speculating if it was Lex Luthor in the armor, this, that, and the third. But they also found this that it's a character called Hammer of Boravia. But one of those little kid book is coming out that actually features a good image of him where you can actually see the character in more detail. Thought that was a little interesting. So that suit, and you can kind of see the zigzag pattern that's on his chest there. I guess it's that country's flag. You can kind of see it there. It's a little dark, a little silhouetted from the backlighting, but yeah, that's the character, the Hammer. The Hammer. Thought that was pretty cool. I'm still pretty excited for this Superman movie.
Did you get all of your Superman Day stuff?
Yeah. Didn't we show that off last week?
Did we? Did you see the one? There were only 1,938 copies made of the All-Star Superman reprint that had a picture cover of, the cover where he's All-Star Superman 1 where he's sitting in the clouds and he's looking over the earth and everything. So they did one for the Warner Brothers tour that was given. They showed Superman 2, I believe it was, on the at Warner Brothers, and they gave away on the Warner Brothers tour a Superman Day All-Star Superman #1, but it was a picture cover with David Corenswet from the back
on the cloud
and in Crypto. Yep. And Crypto looking over.
I hadn't even seen that, but if it's a picture cover,
and there was only 1,938 copies made, and they're like $200 each on eBay.
Well, I'm literally on eBay right now looking for them. Oh, I see it. Oh, that's fantastic.
Isn't it nice?
Yeah, this person wants $499. It looks like it's signed by somebody though.
Well, Jim Lee was there for the viewing.
Okay.
So he might have signed some copies.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. That's where they're sitting up on the moon looking down at the earth from that early that's super cool.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to end up with one of those one day. I'm definitely not paying hundreds of dollars for it though. That's not my style.
Yeah.
Wow, that's pretty cool. Looks like Juggernaut, both wrong publisher. What is going on, Stephen with the C? Kev, what's happening? Armada by the guy that wrote Ready Player One is a great modern take on The Last Starfighter. Let's check that out. I haven't watched Ready Player One in a while either, but man, I remember that Mecha Godzilla Iron Giant fight. That was crazy. That was crazy. Never thought I'd see that in my lifetime, but they made it happen, which was super cool. And I do want to remind everybody, Free Comic Book Day is coming up. Sorry, that graphic's over your face, Paul, but I left it there from where I did the video. Now, Free Comic Book Day is going to be this coming Saturday. I hope everyone's prepared. I put out a video with the entire list showing all the covers and everything that's going to be available that day. I highly recommend checking it out. If you haven't seen the list of what's coming, there's probably something, if not a handful of things, that will excite pretty much anybody that's into comic books. It's a really impressive list of books this year, which I was kind of worried about how this was going to work, if it was going to work with the Diamond debacle, with them going bankrupt and everything. But it looks like it's happening. Books are showing up at shops. In some situations, people have some books in their hands when shops don't. You have a lot of these shops that specialize in things other than comics, but they do carry comics. And I know like Becker had Free Comic Book Day in his hand like 2 weeks ago and didn't even realize it until today when he messaged me because he watched the video. He's like, "Oh crap, that's in a bag."
Yeah, they ship them like a month ahead of time, if not more. The books usually.
They give you a lot of heads up on that.
But one of the reasons why they do it is because a lot of times companies will have a stamp that they use that they put their name in the corner of it, so it gives them time.
Yeah, that white box.
Right.
Yeah, a lot of people are liking the book way better. Never read it. It's good to see you in here. What has happened in circumstances. But yeah, Free Comic Book Day, I just want to say there's three of them that stand out like a sore thumb to me that I'm excited about. And one of them is the picture behind Paul. DC's doing a flip book this year,
Mhm.
which is perfect because it kind of pairs with the DC All In special that they did that introduced us to the absolute world that kicked it all off. And half of the DC book will feature tease issue 0, whatever it is, for Superman Unlimited, the upcoming new ongoing title with Dan Slott coming over to DC Comics. But the flip side will feature the book behind Paul, which will be an absolute special. And they're keeping it kind of mysterious what it's going to be. And you can kind of see the character silhouette over Paul's head. And Cliff pointed out to me he thinks he's going to be Brainiac with how they've kind of been keeping him in the shadows and not really showing him through the Superman first arc. But to me, that looks clear as day like Martian Manhunter for some reason. It's the brow. What are you thinking on this one?
I think it's Mirror Master because he's breaking a mirror.
Yeah, and that's what God, who someone in the Free Comic Book Day video commented that they think it's Mirror Master as well.
I think he's going to be the big bad in the absolute universe.
Kind of giving us our first step in a potential crossover with characters, maybe.
Yeah, yeah. Because supposedly he said that Scott Snyder has said that he's going to do a crossover with just the original three, not all six, but with the original three first, sometime supposedly this fall. So we'll
And you
see.
think Mirror Master is going to be the connecting fiber? I can see him be if they're going to wait till fall. That'll kind of time the Flash book out a little bit because
Mhm.
they introduced him in issue 1, but it introduced him. Well, to say present time is kind of weird with that book, anyways, because they're really playing with time as a tool
Right.
right now. But we he was the big reveal at the end of issue 1. We don't know what part he had to play in this or that, but where is he at? Wasn't he at like the ruins of the lab where the
Yeah.
Flash was created?
hmm I don't think it's Martian Manhunter because the eye looks like. I mean, it is only a single eye, so it could be. But I also it would have to be in the middle of his head,
Yeah, and
right?
see, it just looks like the traditional
Yeah.
regular
Yep.
Martian Manhunter,
Right.
which
Yep.
we got issue 2 of Absolute Martian Manhunter. That was wild. That was yeah, that book is an experience
hmm
to say the least. And yeah, I don't see that going in any route toward a traditional looking Martian Manhunter whatsoever. That would kind of defeat the purpose of everything that it looks like they're doing with that book so far. But I'm excited for that book. And then The Ghost Who Walks is getting his own book. Mad Cave Studios is kind of rocking and rolling. Them and Dynamite are like on some good momentum right now. But the Phantom is getting an issue 0 to tee off their upcoming ongoing series. And that's I like me some Lee Falk,
But
like me some
you got to be
Phantom.
most excited about Mark Spears, I would think.
I'm excited for it. I don't know if
Mhm.
I'm most excited for it. Definitely in that order of that Absolute book and then the Phantom one. The Mark Spears book I'm excited for in the aspect that it's actually original story because I'm reading the book,
Right.
and I don't go crazy on all of his covers and stuff. There's I get like 2 different covers for each issue of Monsters just for the PC
hmm
because there's just too many cool ones to choose from with all those characters on them. But this story is supposed to go back to issue 0 and introduce us to kind of like this group of kids. I'm assuming kind of Stranger Things esque
hmm
because Mark was talking about it on one of Haven Comics little streams because that's like his hometown LCS. So he's on with them often, just hanging out, and they don't have like a huge. They just get on there and hang out kind of thing. It's really kind of like behind the curtain conversations, very just genuine, like just straight talk. Because it's people that've known each other for years, they're just buddies. And he was saying that like really with issue 3 is kind of like where uh they kind of start shifting into the story. I guess it's all been set up or just like world building up until then.
hmm
So I think that this issue 0 is introducing us to like the cast that we can expect to see as reoccurring main characters potentially.
You mentioned Mad Cave. Did you see what they announced this week?
Mm-mm.
They're going to do something called Mad. I think it's called like Mad Cave Unlimited or something like that. But it's basically you pay whatever amount. I think it's per title, but you get the online issue a week before the physical issue is in the stores.
Oh, that's not
And
cool.
right, and then when the storyline is over, they automatically will ship you the trade. So yeah, I mean it's definitely
Now, is that like you is that per title kind of thing? You have to pay per title?
I think so, yeah. I mean, I just looked at it real quick, but it's like, and Man Cave is doing a whole bunch. They're doing the Gotchimon. They're doing, are they doing Dick Tracy?
Yeah, they're
Um,
doing Dick Tracy.
right, they're doing Defenders of the Earth and
Flash
Flash Gordon,
Gordon. Yeah,
right? So
I'm getting
you would
Defenders.
get
That's
each
just
of
a
those issues
limited.
a week before the actual physical issue comes out, and then let's say after issue number 6, they would automatically ship you the trade of the first story arc.
That's wild. Is this an app or a website or
I think it's a website, I believe, that they're doing.
so you're pretty much just pre-buying the trade and they're giving you the digitals for free, kind
Right.
of.
A week before the physical issue comes out.
Yeah, I'm gonna look into
Which
that.
that part is
I
not
always,
is not great.
yeah, I always feel weird about anything that kind of I don't want to say upsets the apple cart, but kind of just throws a wrench in the brick and mortar stores being able
Mhm.
to make a dollar. Because
Right.
I got these I'm a big fan of Uncle Rob. So I
Mhm.
got these Youngblood books. I was really
Mhm.
excited for these to be coming out.
Mhm.
And it's a Youngblood Deluxe. This was available on his Whatnot, which I'm not a big Whatnot shopper, but I'll get on there and just hang out on Rob's streams because I think the guy's freaking hilarious. He's awesome. And so I was excited to be able to pick these up this week. I hadn't had a chance to read it yet. It's just a remake of it's the original book. It's the original
Right.
Youngblood one, just recolored and stuff. And I think it
Mhm.
might have some special features in the back, maybe. But it's super awesome. And he's about to bring Youngblood back with a brand new series, which is available to buy already that he's selling exclusively through his Whatnot. And he
Right.
made some announcements and some posts that he's kind of like taking what he's learned and he's kind of going to do it on his own and just do a direct to customer thing and just sell stuff through his own shop and his Whatnot stuff. And then later in the year, release it to the direct market. And I'm like, dude, I love Rob Liefeld. I
Mhm.
buy his stuff regularly, especially if it's not Marvel. But I'm not like a big fan of the idea of buying my copy from him that I would have bought from my LCS. So
Right.
when I even posted those, someone said, "Did you get the new one?" I'm like, "No, I'm waiting. Wait, I'll wait for it to come to the LCS kind of thing." So man, I don't think Rob's hurting for money. Dude created Deadpool,
Right.
but I know that the shops can use a buck, so I'll hold out and wait and see.
Mhm.
And because it's not something that's pressing. It isn't like a million people are reading it and talking about it in real time that I'll miss. It's just something that I want for myself to read. But that's interesting because I was thinking about the Rob thing. I keep video ideas like
Mhm.
just kind of writing down. I just wrote down that Mad Cave thing, but on
Mhm.
here, high up on the list is Liefeld Video Youngblood Comic Shops, like
Mhm.
that whole conversation. But I just moved it down and just folded it in with that Mad Cave thing because
Mhm.
it's going to be a weird time era when like the goal of these people who produce comics is to usurp the shops.
Right.
It seems ultimately counterintuitive just on a base level.
Right.
That's, I don't know. I feel weird about that. I'm gonna have to look more into it to find out some more information. And also, I don't know if you saw it, but someone created this really, really high quality Youngblood live action trailer that it looks like I guess they made it with AI, but it doesn't look like those retro AI trailers that they make of everything.
Mhm.
It looks like someone was trying to cut a serious promo trailer. If you haven't seen that for Youngblood, you got to check that out. It's wild. It's the Hulk secret crossover. Yeah, the Kirby brow. What is going on, J-Med? Good to see you and your homie. Hello, hello.
Hey.
Hope you had a great weekend as well. Ooh, man. Yeah, that makes me feel all weird. Makes you feel all weird. And then the third book I'm excited about is in fact the monsters book. I'm assuming that that's going to be the hot book of the day.
Right.
I mean, everyone's hot and bothered for Mark Spear stuff. Let me show you this picture. So they just had Huntsville Comic Con, and that's where Mark Spears is from. He's from down there, and I saw that he was going to have an exclusive for the Huntsville Comic Con. So this is what it looked like. And I like mummy stuff, and that was one of the ones that kind of jumped out at me. Not just the underboob, Paul. Not just the underboob, but this was super cool. I like the colors on it. I like the mummy aspect to it. It's a hot cover. Like it was just really cool. There's something about his art is just ain't really got to explain it. It's just speaks to people. So I messaged this guy that I know in that area who knows. who knows Mark, and asked if he'd be able to grab me 1 or 2 copies. And he messaged me back. He said he couldn't grab me a couple of copies because they were super limited, but he could give me 1 copy, and he got the metal version and he got it signed.
Wow.
And now that I didn't realize it, I was like, "Thank you so much." And now a couple of days go by, and I see that it's it's going for like $800 to $1,000 on the secondary market. It's limited only 50 copies, and a dude wouldn't even let me pay him for it. Said it's not a big deal. He didn't pay that for it, obviously. He's like, I
Wow.
appreciate it. So big shout out and thank you to him. I'm not going to throw his name out there. Yeah, you did. And when you did, Beckers, when I wrote it down on this piece of paper here and looked into it and everything, man, I feel you on that. Sweet tap dancing Moses is right.
It's called
Yeah.
Mad Cave Digital, not Mad Cave Unlimited.
Mad Cave Digital. Do you know if it's an app?
I'm checking right now.
I don't like the idea of it though. Do you remember how big of a conversation it was when DC Unlimited decided to do the 1 month thing? Like if you get the higher tier of DC Unlimited, you have full access to all titles 1 month after they release. Like they hit shops, then 4 weeks later
Yeah.
they're on the app. And that was kind of like, man, that's kind of cutting it close, like you're cutting into comic shops. Now these people are just going ahead of Street View.
Right.
That's crazy.
It's a digital comics reader, which is up and running on their website already. So it's from their Mad Cave website.
Interesting. Very
And
interesting.
you mentioned Diamond. Did you see that Alliance dropped out of purchasing Diamond?
Yeah, I think that they were pushed out. I talked to Paul at ABX earlier in the week, and nothing confirmed, but he mentioned something that he thinks that potentially the other debtors might have petitioned it or something.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how all that works or this or that, but
Yeah.
they owe a lot of people a lot of money. But someone else sent me an article that said that Alliance backed out, that Alliance had the highest bid, and then they had to take Diamond to court to accept the bid because Diamond was trying to accept someone else's bid that was lower than Alliance's, and they called BS and forced the purchase, and then they back out at the last minute. Very, very weird stuff. I'm just glad Free Comic Book Day is happening. It's definitely a little on the rocks. I wonder what next year's going to look like.
Yeah, it'll be interesting.
What does your shop do for the day? Shops plural.
Yeah, I mean they nothing all that special. I mean they'll do sales on like trade paperbacks and things like that, and they usually get a DJ in or whatever, and local artists.
You said that like that's a normal thing. We need a DJ for our comic shop.
Yeah,
that's pretty funny. Do they do any of the comic crawls or anything that day? Or is that
they have in the past, but I don't think they're doing one this year because they've just done a couple of events. But that's usually where they start. They do like last year or the year before they did that kaiju crawl, where you got that coin that I showed you, the Godzilla coin,
which is freaking awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I agree with Becker on this. To me, the only way you can successfully run a shop these days is through relationships and community. Absolutely, you need it. It needs to become about the place itself, where you have a dedicated customer base that wants you to succeed and participates in the success of your shop.
Yeah, and you almost can't live you can't live by comics alone. You have to get into the Dungeons and Dragons and all those things and have the leagues that come in at night and things that help support you and all those type of things. So
unless you're like wildly successful doing secondary market stuff in your store as well, like if you get a good buy, sell, and trade aspect to the store going, because that's what Dead Media is. You hear me talk about a lot. Dead Media is solely buy, sell, and trade comics, toys, board games, VHS, like that's all. And he's known for that, like in the area, the vast majority of anybody into that stuff knows that Angel Shop's there, but you gotta have that. And that takes some time to build too, people got to find you over time and stuff. Oh, this is cool. AR Shop makes a huge D. Huge D. Deal with it. Yeah. Yeah. There'll be sales and stuff going on at ABX. So again, I really encourage anybody, if you're in the area, come out to ABX. I'll be there at open. Brian LCS is coming to town. The Comic Vikings here. Geek Out with Roscoe is coming. ABX makes a huge deal of it too. They create like a mini local con. They fill up the store with local talent. We do have some talent like Michael Rushbrooks here, who did the art for Fiendish. Then you got what's the other guy's name who does Sissone? He's a little award-winning indie writer as well. Got a couple of indie comic creators here, and then a lot of the little wares and stuff are there and stuff like that. It's really fun.
I'll be hitting multiple comic shops in the morning, and then I'm seeing Thunderbolts like mid-afternoon.
There we go. Lee Newman. Yeah, Lee Newman does Sissone. Yeah. Yeah, he's a really good guy. And Lee always he's doing it again this year. Last year he does this little shirt challenge.
Mm-hmm.
And it was fun. It was so fun last year. It was crazy funny. So he bought a shirt for the day, and anybody that walks in wearing the same shirt as him, he donated $10 to Comics Curing Cancer. And I kid you not, like it worked. Like throughout the day, I think there's a small handful of people because he intentionally gets a shirt that he feels is a pretty common shirt. Last year it was a short sleeve button up, white button up with like Hulk and Iron Man and Captain America all over it. And dude, it was so funny because like me and him weren't standing next to each other when the first person walked in, and I just yelled across the store like no freaking way. And him and I both just died laughing. And it happened numerous times through the day, dude. It was so funny. And I was taking pictures of him with everyone that came in with him. It was really cool. But yeah, he's an awesome guy. Randy Bishop should be there. Might be there, I think. Another
yeah, I would go into the shop if I was wearing the same shirt, and then I would hand my shirt to whoever is coming in when I left. They put this on
your car shirtless.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we'll be hitting ABX, and then we're going to sword class. Finn has his first sword class, and then I'll be catching back up with the guys. But definitely going to go to Dead Media. Dead Media will be putting on a sale and probably popping second in Charles. Bing, bang, bam. Pow. KC Crew makes our own crawl. I've actually had 2 people reach out to ask what order we are going in, so others outside the crew can tag along and do. That's awesome. Yeah, I'm trying to get stuff like that going here. The whole community thing, man. That we got to make it happen. At my LCS, they are selling dollar box books for $0.25. Dude, that's legit awesome. First 25 get a ticket for a drawing, and the winner gets one of every free Comic Book Day book instead of just having to pick 5. Oh, that's really cool too. Yeah, there you go. Jeff's camping out the night before. That's intense. Yeah,
literally he'll be intense. He'll be intense.
Buddy, you just camp in my yard. I'm right here by AVX. You just camp in the front yard. Be a little softer than that sidewalk. I was able to see the Thunderbolts early. No credits though, so if it has post credits, I didn't see it. Are you willing to?
2 post credits apparently.
Oh, has 2 post credits. So are you willing to drop your rating for it? You don't have to do spoilers or anything, but I'm excited for it. I think it looks pretty good from the trailers, at least trailer 2 and 3. The first one seemed to like the standard campy Marvel stuff, but I'm thinking it's going to work well. Like the whole underdogs in a movie about underdogs in a time when it's like the MCU is kind of the underdog now. Like it needs a win. And I don't mean financially. I couldn't care less financially. It needs just a movie that people watch and say, that was fun. That was good. What's going on, Rich? Good to see you and your homie, Sir Timothy Nerdy. Wait, Finn has a sword? Way to bury the lead. Yeah. So, man, I took him to karate like 2 weeks ago, and the karate instructor's like, sword clinic starts May 3rd. I'm like, wait, tell me more. He's like, yeah, this much money, you buy the sword, and then we just, that class that day will be sword class. I'm like, so the last thing my kid needs is a sword. So I'm going to buy this for him while his mom's not here. So got it. Didn't realize it was on Free Comic Book Day, but don't care either way. Don't care either way. It's going to be awesome. Teach this kid how to be a ninja. Oh, cool, Bergman. What do you say? Yay or nay? Yeah, I'd like to know.
Gave it a 7.5.
I didn't know you're that close, homie. That's awesome. Solid 7.5. Dude, that's a good score. That's a really good score. I like most of the characters. Yeah, I'm excited for it. There were 2 credits for it. Beckerman seen it on Wednesday, and Satil, everything was done. It's an art form.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it as well. Yeah, a lot of people get to see him early, depending on where you live. Over here in Augusta, they don't have those like advanced screenings like that, those tester screenings and stuff. From what I understand, the purpose of them is to try to get like early social media feedback out there.
Right. Well, that's, I mean, that's kind of how you can tell how Disney feels about it too, because if Disney is nervous about it, their media blackout or whatever they call it is like the day of release. This was
Yeah,
like
so
the
they have the
22nd was like the
they have two different embargoes that they do
yeah.
for movies most of the time. You have a social media embargo
Yeah.
and you have a review embargo, and they'll say you can post on social media, but please don't do spoilers. They just kind of ask people not to, and like they're somehow or another they keep like a loose track of
Hmm.
pay attention to who's doing what kind of thing. If someone kind of just craps the bed with it,
Hmm.
they probably don't invite them back because it is like an invite thing. You have to get on a list
Right.
and follow through their web pages and stuff like that. But yep. But that whenever they don't lift the review embargo till the day before, you're in trouble. But it's
Right.
crazy. It reminds me of like the confidence that they had for the Flash movie, how they were doing early screenings months in advance, lifting review embargoes, and it's getting like the highest of praise. And then the internet just pretty much
Hmm.
just got in like this natural pushback on it. It was wild. Rigo does mystery movie Mondays from time to time. I saw a few movies a week earlier, so nice. Yeah,
That's
I
how
think
I
you went
saw
to.
I saw Gladiator 2 that way.
I bet that's the man. I watched it on Paramount, and I thought, well, it was okay.
Mm.
Give it about a five.
Hmm.
Like it's not bad. It's not good. There's a lot of it. I was like, nah. But I wish I would have paid money and took time out of my day to go see it. So I probably would have had a better experience watching it. I
Hmm.
still need to get the Steelbook to go with part one, though. Still need to do that.
Did you see that Universal is doing a Jurassic Park steelbook trilogy?
Mm-mm.
They're doing a Jurassic Park. They're doing two steelbooks, the original three
That,
Jurassic Parks, and then the Jurassic World
oh,
trilogy.
like three of them in one book.
Yeah, in one steelbook.
Yeah, I feel some type of way about that because, like, the way I see it in my mind, like Jurassic Park Steelbook should be completely black, front and back,
Mm-hmm.
with just the Jurassic Park logo on it. And
Mm-hmm.
then, like, number two should have like them running through the little creek with the Stegosauruses behind them or
Right.
something. Like,
And
I,
three should
I,
have.
yeah, three should have the silver with the claw. Yeah, it should be something like that. I think they'd look great. Like how I have that Resident Evil set that comes in
Mm-hmm.
like the big box and they're all like shelved on there and they all have
Mm-hmm.
like matching format to them, a different color and the Alice from that movie. You could just do the Jurassic franchise with just the logos. Every
Mm-hmm.
movie has a distinct, unique logo.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know. Feel a
They
little
come out
weird
in
about it.
they come out in June, I believe.
I'll end up getting them because I bought the Jurassic World box set when Dominion came out, but it's me and Kyle jumped the gun. We were like, "Oh my god, that must be on sale." We saw the price tag on it, just grabbed it and went, and didn't realize it wasn't 4K. It was just Blu-ray.
Mm-hmm.
And with a new franchise starting, I feel weird having a box set. And I learned this rule back when I was the manager at Movie Stop years ago: never buy a box set for a franchise that's not dead, because like they'll all match, they'll all look good, and then the
Mm-hmm.
next film will come out and it'll break up the aesthetic of it. So
Yep.
you always have to go for the option that's unique just to that movie.
Right.
Like the Jurassic Park, that's why I said the one needs to look like one and two needs to look like
Mm-hmm.
two. But I'm not against the idea of the trilogies because I think we're starting a new trilogy, right? With this.
I don't think they've said it's going to be a trilogy, but I'm sure that they probably will be. So.
So I'm looking forward to that a lot. And I'm excited that between that and Superman, those are both be playing
Mm-hmm.
when we go to the island.
Mm-hmm.
Their scientists were too concerned about making a steelbook bundle instead of asking if they should. Comment of the night.
Yeah.
That's going to be the one. Oh man! Speaking of franchises that are not dead, we got the trailer for the long anticipated Predator movie that's coming out. We had this, I almost want to call it a sleeper hit, but the last Predator movie, Prey, which I'll be honest with you, is my favorite one outside of the original one with Arnold. It was so
Mm-hmm.
freaking good. Like Indians versus Predator. This is the kind of stuff that they wanted for a long time, that they've done fan fiction about.
That was one
Fan
on Hulu, right?
Yes, and they didn't
Okay.
even release it in theaters.
Right.
I don't know if it was because it was so close to the lockdown era or if
Mm-hmm.
they just weren't confident with the franchise after the last few, like the AVP stuff just really didn't take off the way that they wanted them to. Who knows? But it was, in my opinion, a flawless film and the best installment in the franchise, like I said, since the original. It's so good. I've watched it numerous times at this point, but the same people that made that were announced to be coming back for the next one. They're given a theatrical release. 20th Century Fox got like a fire up under its feet since Disney took over. There's really no denying how well 20th Century Fox has done. It has not, like, Disney seemed to have tanked every franchise that they've touched, at least with the fans across the board, from like, like you got the Star Wars stuff, the Marvel stuff, the Indiana Jones, just a lot of negativity toward what they've touched. But with 20th Century Fox, they seem to be crushing it. We had Alien Romulus, we had Prey, we have the Alien Earth coming TV show. Avatar, I think, is untaintable because I don't think anyone can get near creative anything when it comes to that. It's just so protected by James Cameron. But 20th Century Fox is crushing it, absolutely crushing it. So I'm really excited for this. I will say the concept behind it, I'm all in for it. Absolutely all in. You have a young predator he's having his metal tested. It reminds me of 300 when Leonidas is trained as a kid, but then he's told to go out, don't come back without the hide of the dire wolf kind of thing. If you die, you die. But they have this young adolescent predator, looks like he's teenage years, and he gets to pick his hunting ground. And he's the one being hunted. It's like, if you survive, you're one of us kind of thing is what I believe. But we can already see where they're mixing alien and predator elements in this. I don't think we're going to get xenomorphs in here at all, but we do see a Wayland android in the trailer. We knew that this, what's her name? Something Fanning, Ellie Fanning, maybe. There's this actress.
Not Dakota Fanning.
It's the other Fanning.
Okay.
So the other Fanning was announced as the lead actress in this. So like, this is okay. What is she going to do? Well, in the trailer, you see her for a split second. You see her eyes go wide. I'm like, she's a synth. She's an android. And then I saw the Eagle Eye Internet caught it and like, upscaled the image, paused it, and zoomed in. She has the Wayland W's in her eyes. So it like confirmed, like we're doing shared universe stuff. Thank you, Joe. Ellie Fanning confirmed. Confirmed. It was both COVID and not too sure audiences would want to see it, considering there were a lot of subtitles for it originally, but the director says he still wishes now they did put it there. I think they should have, man. I definitely think they should have. I think word of mouth would have helped it out a lot, and that had to be a modest budget. Filming in the woods always helps out a lot. But that last Predator that they did called The Predator, where it was like the genetically enhanced predator hunting the predator and all the military criminals running around together. It was awful, but man, it's so fun. It is so fun. I loved it. You had Thomas Jane in there as the guy with schizophrenia. It was wild. It was wild. But I'm super excited for this. But this is your adolescent predator. That's a pretty decent shot of him. But there's this one where his face looks a little too smooth, kind of thing, But it just looked kind of a little off in the trailer. Like there's really no debate, and he looked different. But this is the first time of us seeing a non-adult predator. I'm saying it was a bad movie, but I enjoyed the hell out of it. Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that.
Or as Adventures Joe would say, an 8 out of 10. And to answer your question, Joe, no, never letting it die. But yeah, it was a bad movie. That, I mean, if you're a fan of Alien, Predator, RoboCop world stuff, it's hard not to like any of them, to be honest with you. There's something to enjoy about all of them, but it was definitely not one of the stronger ones. It had its moments. That's pretty much all I had for movie stuff. Did you see what was happening on Whatnot this weekend? I think you did see. You actually experienced a very unique Whatnot experience, didn't you?
Yeah.
You want to share your story? Or you want to
sure.
Okay.
Don't have me go on Whatnot and buy stuff, because I'm buying stuff I don't even realize I'm buying is basically it. But
I think a lot of people are there with you, man.
Yeah. BTC was actually doing a John Jang signed thing, as well as they were doing. They were selling some of the Daredevil packs, I believe, too. And they just put out a video not too long ago where I guess there's one called the God package, right? I guess is what it's called.
Yeah.
And there are 3 foils in there that I guess 3 very rare foils if you get the God package. So
the God packet has none of the standards or the versions. It's all just the foily thingies.
Yeah, and the packages are going for like $200, I think you said, right? That's that we're
Yeah,
selling?
yeah, this is what they are. So on the bigger streams like Big Time Collectibles or Comic Tom, they're selling for upwards of $200 a pack. You get 3 comic books inside of each one of these. They're pretty much giant trading card packs,
Mhm.
and Whatnot puts them together with these are the 5 books you can get. And of the 5 books, there's 3 in a pack. There's a regular trade dress, a virgin, a silver foil, a gold foil, and a prism. And then there's like super limited ones that are signed by the artist. And I believe, did Charlie Cox sign any or something?
I believe he did, yeah.
So those
But
are
he
like
was
the
also
rarest of
part
the
of
rare.
what BTC was doing too, right? I think as well.
Yeah, I think that they had a signature option. I think they just had
Right.
access to get Charlie to sign stuff. But BTC was running a live stream. They had John Jang, who's one of the cover artists. So David Mack is a covered artist for one of them. John Jang is, and I can't. Alex Maleev is one, and I can't remember the other two. But
I think one of them was John Romita Senior. I think wasn't it? It was like an original one. Was
oh, that
like
is
the
it.
blue
That
one, I think, right?
blue
In
one
the mid.
fighting the
Yeah.
Punisher. Yep, that makes sense. Yeah, but yeah, so they're super fun. So like, there's different way these can be looked at. I know a lot of people are like anti whatnot, and I get it. I know a lot of people are anti comic packs. They're just a gimmick today. Yeah, they're a gimmick and they're super fun. And the cool
Mhm.
thing about gimmicks, whether it's these comic packs, foil covers, ratio covers, whatever they are, you don't have to buy them. The A
Mhm.
cover still exists of anything that you want, which I'm a
Mhm.
huge A cover fan, but I'm also a huge fan of a good gimmick. And these are super fun. And this time is the first time that they've done one of these because it's the third little whatnot packs they've done. It's the first time there's actually a book in them that I need for my PC, which is the John Jang book.
Mhm.
Now, I don't really care if I get the trade dress, the virgin, the foil, the gold foil, the prism. To be honest, I want the prism because I think it has like you see the original art on it the
Right.
best without it being washed in gold or silver, but it's also shiny. So that's the kind of one I want. And this is the first time they've done 3 different bag art. So they did the Hulk packs that just had the red Hulk on them. They did the X-Men packs. Well, I think they did different bags for the X-Men too. Now I think
Mhm.
about it, but I ended up picking up 3 of these, one of each. Now, what I didn't do is pay a lot of money for them. I didn't pay triple digits for not near one pack. So if anyone's ever interested in these, I suggest just getting on Whatnot and those big shows with a lot of followers, with big audiences, a lot of people bidding, they're going to go up high. But if you just keep scrolling, you're going to find that little seller with 7 people watching his show who wishes more people would come buy from him, who got some of these packs and wishes there's enough people to run the price up to $100, $200. But he'll put them up for sale and they'll go for 40 to 50 bucks. And you find him and you just type in the comments, hey, any Daredevil packs? And if he says yes, you just hang out in the stream for a little bit. Do something with it playing in the background. Like, like drop a comment every now and then. Support the dude. Give him a little follow. And then get you a pack for an affordable price. If you don't get everything you like in there, these things resell really easily. A lot of people want the books in them.
Mhm.
They got them ratioed out right. The print run versus the audience for them seem to be on point. But I'm very excited. The last time that I got one of these, we did a little pack opening on my channel because I don't get them to open them. Most time on Whatnot, you buy them, they'll open them and show you what you won. Not me. I just have them sent to me still sealed. I'll open them on the channel and see if we struck gold because some of these things are worth a lot of money. They got high value to them. But Paul's messaged me. He's like, "Hey, I got 2 of those packs." I'm like, "Bro, how much you pay?" We're like, $20. I'm like, "Wait, what? What stream?" He's like, "The BTC stream." I'm like, "You sure you got the packs?" He's like, "Let me look." And he bought a signed book out of the Buy It Now, but it's a cool book.
Yeah, it is. All right, for it. Coming soon to Guess That Key as a giveaway.
Yeah. Did you end up getting any packs?
No, I wasn't going to pay $200 for it. And
Yeah, me neither. Me
yeah,
neither. But yeah. What was it? Where did I go at? We went to was it the fair Friday? We went to the fair Friday. And when I got home and laid down in bed, I just opened Whatnot to see and found a guy with 7 people watching and got a pack off him for $53.
oh, nice.
And then last night I popped on there at bedtime and found Renovision. Talked to this guy here recently on stream named Brucifer, and he co-hosts on the show called Renovision. And I was flipping through and saw one that said Renovision. He had 17 people watching and scored 2 packs from him. So I should have one of each of the different varieties. So I want to figure out what I want to do with them. I might end up opening the first one and getting the book I want and selling the other 2 sealed. I definitely plan on getting my money back. That's for sure. You know, like trading cards? I did a Jay and Silent Bob. Oh, that's nice. I have not watched Sinners yet.
#1 movie again this week.
It didn't have a second week drop hardly. Did you see that?
Yeah. You see what
Almost
the #2
nothing.
movie was?
Huh? What
You
was
see what
it?
the #2 movie was?
Uh,
Star Wars: Revenge of the Sith.
was it? Dude, that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I saw that Hayden and Sam
Yeah.
popped up at some screenings, dude. That man. Could you imagine going to see that movie and them just walk out and surprise you? I'd be like,
Mm-hmm.
dude, I wouldn't even know what to do. Like that's like the pinnacle right there. And then the next thing you know, Django Fett walks out. I'm like, I have
Right.
lived. I have lived. The Star Wars Trinity for me right there. That would be nuts.
It
But
was
yeah, the
one
interview
of
was
them.
awesome.
It was this kid was at, I want to say maybe been at a convention, but Django Fett was there, and he was talking to him and everything, and the Django Fett was talking to the kid and everything. Django Fett took off his helmet. It was Daniel Radcliffe.
Oh, I saw. Yeah, I think Matt Heroes for Hire shared that in one of the group chats where you want to
Yeah,
go meet Boba Fett, but Harry Potter shows up or something like
yeah.
that. Yeah, that's pretty funny. Yeah, I can't even pronounce his name. I've never been able to. Timurera Morrison, whatever his name is. Got to get back to work. Thanks for letting me crash the stream for a bit. Absolutely. Thanks for popping in.
Yeah.
And as a reminder, the deadline to enter Joe's giveaway is tomorrow, April 28th by 12 a.m. I'm assuming that's Eastern Standard Time, aka God's time, aka real time. After that, on the 29th, entries will be added to the wheel. There you go. There you go. Let's see. I think the biggest thing outside of comic reviews for this week is most definitely this show right here. Did you watch The Last of Us?
I did.
Star of the show. This guy right here. This was dude. Everyone was comparing it to rightfully so, comparing the show to Game of Thrones, like, and now like the scale, the consequences, the way that it leaves you feeling. You know, context. I didn't play the game. You don't play the game ever, did you?
No,
No.
but I
But
guess Joel dies pretty early on in the second game, I guess, or something. Or
yeah, I
so.
knew it was coming. Like obviously, like
I had no idea.
You didn't know?
No.
What?
Nope.
What did you think when that happened then?
I did. I think she should have used a driver.
Yeah, it's funny. In the game, she does. Like when they say, "All right, finish it. Let's get out of here," she just takes it and turns it like that part of the club pointing down and just plants it in the skull one time. And this, the club was broken from where you could hear her hitting him repeatedly. Like why you see Ellie coming up. Like obviously she did enough that it broke the club. That this time she just put it in the golf bag, aka Joel's head.
I think that the stars of these post-apocalyptic shows should stay away from sporting goods stores.
Yeah, they're
Because
not the place
like
to be. Baseball bats.
baseball bats, golf clubs are like not good for our leads.
Oh man, but what a show! What a fantastic show! All while the whole thing with Joel's going like that's what everyone's been talking about. But like the siege, man, these creepy crawlers coming up out of the snow where they're kind of like burrowing and kind of naturally not freezing to, I guess, where they shut down until it thaws out. But that whole siege on the town was fantastic. Seeing that they have competent leadership with Tommy, that this town is clearly trained and organized to actually put up a fight. Watching him go head up against the bloater with the flamethrower was fantastic. The point that we get to where it's like, it's over, we're overrun. And the fact that he's out in the street, like, I'm like, this guy, he's got brass pair, man. But when his wife was like doing work and running and taking him out and like, where is she going? And she goes in the barn and you hear the dogs barking. I'm like, oh man, I hope they don't eat the dogs, kind of got a soft spot for dogs. And she lets them out. I'm like, what's this? And then the dogs come running in like the freaking cavalry, saving everyone in the little last witching hour. Like that shot that was low to the ground, and they come out of like the haze of like the snowy air and just run past Tommy. I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. They have trained them just as well as the town folk. It was wild. But also big highlight was this actress right here, Tiger Woods. I mean, Abby over here. She crushed it. She absolutely she brought the range of emotion. She had a great presence to her. That's the fair comparison to Game of Thrones and stuff. Are you chasing nuggies? Yeah. But it was wild. Hey, why aren't you in bed?
Because mommy letting us stay up.
No, ma'am. Go. He didn't go outside, baby. He ran the other way. Pedro Pascal is in everything now. I'm getting tired of seeing him everywhere. You know what he's not in?
The Last of Us anymore.
The Last of Us. He's not in that. He's not in that. Yeah, I was thinking about the whole he's in everything. I mean, he's been in a good number of things. How long has it been since The Mandalorian was on?
A couple of years now.
How long is it going to be until the Mandalorian Grogu movie? A couple years. 2027,
yeah.
Right?
But he doesn't even, all he needs to do for that, for the most part, is he just needs to do voiceovers.
But I'm just saying, like the whole he's in everything, I think it's a meme more than it's a reality anymore. You know what I mean? Because like he'll be in Fantastic Four, but he's no longer in The Last of Us. It was a long break between that. Like the things he's in seem to stand out because they're good properties, except for Mandalorian season 3. That was garbage. But season 1 and 2 were fantastic. No one really thinks about him from Wonder Woman. The standard movies that he does and appearances that he makes and stuff people don't think about too often, like the Kingsman 2 and stuff like that. But it was really just like The Last of Us, Mandalorian, and the upcoming Fantastic Four. But those things are pretty spread out. You know what I mean? You got like a lot of actors that do a lot more than that on a regular basis. But I don't know. He definitely doesn't seem convincing as Reed Richards to me. I think that movie is pretty solidly cast, except for him. I like him as an actor, but it doesn't seem like Reed Richards to me.
Right. Me either.
I don't know. Yeah, the infected attacking Jackson was something not in the game, but Naughty Dog originally wanted it in the game for The Last of Us Part 2. Yeah, it was awesome. It was really cool. I can't wait to see where it goes, what kind of consequences this episode has for all the characters involved. From my understanding, in the game, Paul, at this point, you have to play as Abby and you have to walk around and survive. Like the person who just watched Joel die, have to be the driving factor to keep his murderer alive, which is freaking hilarious to me.
Oh, wow.
It's so funny. But ultimately, like they're the same person, you know, like
Right.
revenge against those who hurt the ones I loved, you know, and that's what's so wild about it. It was interesting to see how they played it out, where Ellie and Joel didn't have a coming together moment since their little differences from Joel's big live betrayal in the end of the first season. It was a lot to unpack with it, man. This is why we need Comic Man Andy. He used to do this show after every episode of the first season and like showing the thing like for a few seconds and pausing it. And he had played the games and 1,000 times or something like that. It was wild. But man, he'd get in deep into the lore. I loved it. Can't wait for more. You want to get in some books?
Sure. Did you see the Dynamite's going to do a new Space Ghost? Restarting with #1 again.
Oh, another volume?
Yeah.
So I know that this volume is ending at 12 and they're just it's going straight into Space Quest, where it'll be a mini series with Johnny Quest and Space Ghost together.
But they're doing Space Ghost as well, another Space Ghost.
After that.
Yeah, same creators. Alex Ross is doing a cover for issue #1.
Oh, that's amazing. Dude, that mini series that he did the covers for, I think Olivetti did the interiors and Alex Ross did the covers for that one for DC, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
Amazing stuff. But that's perfect because that gives the writer and the artist who who is writing the Space Ghost comic? Oh my God. Pepos? Is that right, baby?
He's the artist, I thought.
David Pepos is the artist?
I thought he was. Maybe not.
I didn't think David Pepos was an artist.
You're right. David Pepos. And is it Jonathan Lau who's doing the art?
I'm not sure. All I know is Matina's doing the A covers, and that's all right by me.
Team Matina. Hashtag free Matina.
Yeah. But writer David Pepos. So that works out perfect because I don't know if he's doing Space Quest. I know Mark Spears is on covers for Space Quest, but that gives them time to get the next volume ready, because the way that this is going has blown my mind. The pacing of the Space Ghost and the layout of it, because he's kind of like one of those characters that you can add to the conversation of like greatest rogues gallery. They're iconic. They're easily recognizable. They're unique. They have times when they come together like butt cheeks. Put them on there with Batman, Spider-Man, Flash, Dick Tracy. But we kind of used a lot of them like really fast. And they didn't use them blasé, but it wasn't like Brack was like the villain for this arc. You're like, why are we going through these villains so fast? And you find out that it was just to introduce them because they brought them together into the League of Doom kind of thing at the end of this first volume. We got one more issue to go. So I'm excited to hear. I was wondering what we're going to do next. I knew of Space Quest, and I'm ready for that. I'm definitely ready for that. I need to go back and binge read the Johnny Quest ones though. But it's been a fantastic year for Hanna-Barbera characters. It kicked off last year at Free Comic Book Day. For those that don't remember, that's when the Johnny Quest Free Comic Book Day book dropped, and then it started right after that. We've got Johnny Quest, Space Ghost, the Herculoids is rocking and rolling now, and now we're getting Space Quest, and that's great news. I guess it sold well enough to come back for I guess it'll be issue 3. You said they're starting at issue 1 again?
Yeah, so it'll be second volume. So,
I mean, the old school of me says, "Oh, bar humbug, get off my lawn." But I get it. More people buying issue 1, and if you want people to read it, I think the story and the art is strong enough to really drive it. If people get on it, I think a lot of people that picked up that issue 1 stayed for the next issues. Issue 1s have that issue 2 drop. You get a lot of people that want just the issue 1s. But I bet the issue 2 drop, I bet the percentage was a little bit lower than on a lot of other stuff.
Right.
Because those are kind of like, I don't know, like blue chip fans, for stuff like Hanna-Barbera and all that. We'll see. The Last of Us season 2 in flashbacks now, just like it wasn't. Oh, I didn't know that. Spoiler alert.
Oh, there you go.
I don't want flashbacks. I just want flash forwards. I want to see these people get their revenge. It's pronounced revenge, and it's best served cold. But yeah, I'm excited for that. Paul, I got a question. If you fan out the books in front of you and you look at them, if you look at what came out this week and what you read this week, the ones you read, if you had to put your finger just on one that was the most enjoyable read for you this week, what would it be? Like, give it an honest thought. Like, which one was your most enjoyable read? Without a doubt. Without a freaking doubt. My man. This was so good. Oh my God. What'd you think?
Oh man, you kidding me? We got Dan Garrett, we got all over the place. Yeah, exactly.
This moment right here, I dropped the book and called Pops.
And Nort. We got Nort in hell. Yeah. Nort in hell.
In hell. Yo, this was insane. This was so good. Hector Hammond battling it out with Starfire and Hal. But then across the cosmos, you have Connor, aka Superboy, with Kyle and Odyssey, a brand new Jeremy Adams original character, which these characters stick, by the way. These Jeremy Adams characters legit stick. And man, this was so good. They found this prisoner tied up in this last issue on a planet they were inspecting, and he revealed his name was Dan Garrett. When we next see him, they're untying him while an army of aliens from this planet are crashing in. Connor and Kyle are fighting back, can't hold him long, and Odyssey's trying to carry Dan in weakened state from being a prisoner out to safety, and she's trying to take him through the back of the building that they're in, and he looks over and he sees one of the Blue Beetle technology, like the beetle that's on Jaime. He sees that, but it's not exactly blue. He goes, hold on. And Odyssey asks him, what are you doing? He's like, what, I have to. And he grabs it, and it just starts wrapping up his body. And next thing you know, in the next scene, wrecking house, and they turn around and look, and there's a Silver Scarab back. We have a new Silver Scarab calling back to the old Silver Scarab with the old Blue Beetle. And this was freaking amazing. Dude, like, I've been saying it since he started pulling this crap with the Green Lantern Corps issue 2. I'm like, how are you doing things of this magnitude, this important on this scale? And it has, like, more people need to be on this book. More people need to be talking about it and understand the importance of it. This was insane.
Right. So this is the Green Lantern book, and we have Green Lantern, Star Sapphire, we have Silver Scarab, we have Connor Kent, we have Kyle, we have Phantom Stranger, we have Zoriel, we have Nort, and next issue we're getting the Spectre.
And Odyssey.
And Odyssey, that's right, and Odyssey too, yep.
It was absolutely nuts. Now I'm trying to think back to what book it was last week that you hadn't read yet, when someone was floating in space. Like something happened and someone got teleported or floated in space. It might have even been wasn't the Superman special, but there's one panel in the top left of the page where a portal opened and Gold Beetle's ship was coming through. Now I forget what book it was. Dang. But that's what I mean by these characters stick. Gold Beetle is even about to be in an upcoming miniseries coming out, like Justice League something, with that odd team.
Dark Tomorrow?
Yeah, I think that's it. Gold Beetle is one of the team members on there. But what? And it was like when we were talking to Jeremy, I'm like, when it's hitting the fan, that's when you know Gold Beetle pop, or when you see Gold Beetle pop up, you know it's about to hit the fan. It was what a moment though. It's like this issues like this are why people love comic books so much. It was just exceptional. And yeah, like you pointed out, Hal had to go to the Phantom Stranger and ask for a key to a special door because he's got to go retrieve something from literal hell, and they find Gnort down there. So maybe he can leave with them. Maybe he doesn't have to stay down there. That would be fantastic.
And so the 2 books last week that you told me was New Gods and Detective Comics.
New Gods.
Mm-hmm.
It was. I think it was New Gods. Holy crap! Did you read that yet?
I did. Kind of misleading when on the cover, if you look at the regular cover, because this really only happens in the very last panel.
Thankfully.
Yeah.
Because what a twist that was.
Yeah.
What a twist. So you had Highfather, must not have been New Gods. You had Highfather stepping up to the plate to go fight and not realizing that Darkseid's kid is back. Yeah, it definitely wasn't New Gods. What was the other one, Paul?
Detective Comics? It wasn't Detective
Yes.
Comics, though, I don't think.
Seriously, doubt it'd be Detective. Quite possibly could be. But yeah, we had the Death of Light Ray too. I like the way that it was formatted, like with the whole prophecy thing of purpose and like kind of flashing through Light Ray's life, like trying to understand some concept to some stories that he'd been told. But ultimately, it looks like New Genesis is falling to this invading army that's empowered with this power from the old gods, kind of calling back to a lot of the stuff they've done over the past few years with the new gods and old gods alike. But Darkseid's son, it makes a return, the strange son, not Orion. And it looks like in order to save themselves, they had to get off Earth and calling in a little backup, or get to Earth and get to where there's some backup with the heroes of Earth. What a beautifully illustrated, beautifully told story happening in New Gods. I still think it might be the best book on the shelves from DC, like on a week by week basis. I know what it was.
What was it?
It was Challengers of the Unknown.
Oh, yeah, I haven't read that one yet still.
Oh, well, then I spoiled it.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, you know, they're dealing with death and this and that and people popping in and out of places. But I don't know how many people would notice it. But you get this this moment where Rocky is kind of like accepting his fate.
Mm-hmm.
And he's taking one for the team and he's going to go out there and like die so everyone else can be saved. And he gets like stabbed by the little android that they were fighting, or the big robot. It's like pierced him in the chest, all Gambit style. And they're fading into oblivion. And while they fade, if you look back behind him,
oh yeah,
that's the only shot you get of it. I'm like, that's Gold Beetle, looks like to me. And then they all like say their goodbyes, have their little eulogy kind of thing. But then in the next, the little epilogue, there he is with their robot, but they're back at Challenger Mountain, back in the past. So they were definitely pulled out of the time stream. That was a Gold Beetle move I've ever seen one. They're teeing it up there. The Challenger story will continue across the All-In saga. This was freaking amazing. 5 issues. Highly recommend to anybody, any and everybody who's checking out any of the DC stuff. Heavily tied to
all of those things. Challengers, Question, all of those. They're important to the entire what's going on in the DC universe. So,
want to know what else is important to the comings and goings of the DC universe?
What's that?
This.
Would that be? Let's see. Would that be? That'd be
Yes.
this.
Superman issue 25. They're calling it a milestone issue because they're slapping an extra dollar on the price tag, but you're getting more pages for your punch. And punching is what happens in this book, a whole lot of it. This is the coming together, the nexus of multiple story plot points from the 25 issue run up until this point. It all comes to a head right here. What do you think, Paul?
Well, Perry White is the new mayor, so that's kind of cool. I love the different iterations of Lex that we get throughout the entire story. It's like we're in the black Superman
Yeah,
costume.
the Clone X. So apparently, what did they call it? Something
XL, right? Wasn't it?
XL revealed in the end of the last issue. Mercy's tired of nice Lex. I've done it enough. I've put up with it enough. We're here to conquer the world, Pinky, and we're going to do it today. And she activates a protocol that her and Lex, before he had the memory issue set in place, this clone called XL, fueled by kryptonite and powered out of its mind, revealed that it's built off of a foundation of Bizarro. So it's flawed. That's why Lex wasn't ready to let it go. But ultimately, Superman and Superwoman a drag out fight with it. Superman's redlining through this. Lois goes absolutely ape-ish crazy and unleashes everything she has to put a dent on it, ultimately draining her power source. She's powerless again. We knew from issues ago that every time Lois uses her ability, is like kind of running out the clock on him. It's over with. The Superwoman era is over and gone. Marilyn Moonlight returns for justice against Lex Luthor, who he tells her like, hey, look, I get it. I deserve it. But if you could just get me to the fight, you can have me when we're done. So Lex shows up, throws hands, and puts them paws on the clone version of himself, the Bizarro clone of himself. This issue was insane, fast-paced, intense. Again, covered a lot of plot points that they've introduced throughout this run. Well put together, well thought out, and what a great kind of a point to kick into the summer of Superman. You know, that way we wrap a bow in a few storylines and see where it goes from here, and just build into this era for new fans to jump in now too. Even if you haven't read this, I recommend reading just this one issue as is.
Yeah. We see that even the good Lex still is like he's willing to blow the bad Lex's head off of his
Quite
shoulder.
literally does.
Exactly.
Yeah, which he knew what it was going to cost him as well. And all right, first off, shout out to the creatives because they brought in Jamal Campbell and everyone else who's worked on this title up until now to contribute art. But that's where Lois just rocks him with the heat vision. Like everything she has, like it just shoots all the way out of the city into space even. I wonder what that's going to ultimately hit. But that doesn't stop him. He just keeps on coming, and he hits the ground, and he starts just doing his villain talk. You can't stop me. You are not the real Lex Luthor. And Lex, just knowing what it's going to cost him, knowing he doesn't want to be the villain anymore, he turned a new leaf. He just walks up to him and just blows his head off. And it cost him. It cost him everything. Superman did not see that as him saving the day. He recognized that as, there was a better way. Despite what this thing is, you don't kill it. And that rift between Superman and Luthor is now back. Luthor just sacrificed his newfound innocence to put an end to this monstrosity from his own creation. It was nuts. Nuts. What do you think of Hush 2, Part 2?
It would. I mean, I in a lot of ways I really can't get past the art. It's just like the art is just so extremely obviously so. I'm assuming that this is kind of set back, maybe.
Feels like it, doesn't it?
Yeah, just because of the whole way, like Jason Todd doesn't really have that white thing in his hair anymore.
Got a different build on his costume. He's got the domino mask back.
Yeah.
I feel like they're ignoring everything that came between Hush and this. This is just Hush 2, nothing else.
Yeah, exactly. But it was, it was also. I'm still going with my theory, and the other reason why I'm going with my theory is because I went back and I reread the little prelude that they did for it that had all the different characters that Hush was talking about. The little that had like the little paper figures of everyone and pictures of everyone.
Still think it's Two-Face?
Nowhere do you see a picture of Two-Face. or anything else.
It'll
just
be
a guess.
interesting.
I could be completely wrong.
Yeah, I thought it was a good issue. It did throw me for a little loop, like continuity wise, because it's just Batman 159, so that kind of threw me off a little bit. It seemed like the relationship between Jason and Bruce was missing years of continuity in it, which once you kind of read it, it's all well and good. But knowing now after talking to you that we're only doing 6 issues for right now, I'd like to get into it a little bit more, but that's just me being impatient. So I'm trusting the process here. We'll see where it goes. I don't know. It hasn't pizzazzed me with this issue. The first issue pizzazzed me. I'm like, yeah, I was like getting on a bicycle. But this is only the second issue, and there's no reason in the world that I don't have faith in Jeff Loeb to deliver some bangers. And again, it's ultimately 12 issues, and this is only issue 2. But throwing Jason there was cool. It was kind of the Jason that I missed. Like that was the worst part of it. Was I liked that part of it because outside of this book, that's not the case. He's kind of nerfed right now. Like Jason's kind of the last time we saw him be cool was it Detective when he did like the Hail Mary, like the whole Ra's al Ghul thing. No, that was Batman proper, wasn't it? Where he like kamikazed. And he was like betting on the Lazarus in his blood to bring him back. He's like, I'm going all in.
Yeah.
That was nuts. But yeah, that was so I'm excited to kind of have this more edgier Jason because Jason's always edgy, but there's an era of Jason where he's just freaking the Punisher pretty much. And kind of like that Jason. Makes for a more wild story there. I think I only have one more that I read that to talk about real quick. Absolute Martian Manhunter 2 is out this week. Absolute Wonder Woman number 7 is out this week. And Justice League Unlimited number 6 is out this week, which all of these are going to get deep dove on, all 3 of them, because we're keeping up with the Absolute titles on the deep dive. And Justice League Unlimited Part 6 is now part of the We Were Yesterday story arc that's happening in the pages of Justice League Unlimited and World's Finest for a 6-issue back and forth crossover. So we'll go in more depth and page by page. You, if you're not reading them, can follow along. Check the link below. Hit the button that says Sector 2815 down there. And every Monday we post those. So all 3 of those will be up in the morning at 10 a.m.-ish. And when I say ish, I mean on the dot. I need that one. Definitely need that one. But Blade Forger number 2 is out this week. And I did pick up Halo and Hornsby, Vigilante, and G.I. Joe, but I didn't read them, and that's my fault because I spent a lot of time when I wasn't working reading Turok.
Exactly.
And I want to let everyone know I finished Volume Valiant. It's not Volume 1. I guess it's technically Volume 2 of Turok. Finished the last issue. Along the entire way, I was posting on my YouTube page under the little post as I read on my thoughts. Same for Instagram. And man, oh man, what a journey that was. And it was exceptional. And I have fantastic news to report that the second I was done reading it, I read 3 Gold Key / Dell stories, kind of palate cleanse because I wasn't done. I just didn't feel done with it. And then I jumped immediately right into the next era of Turok. It doesn't miss a beat. It just changes stories. This is a really fantastic variant. This is the book that comes after that run where it kind of switches over into more in line with the video game storytelling. And I've already actually read a few of these, which I'll get to start posting later, but interesting conversations on those coming up. Ultimately, I think I'm going to have to do a video explaining all this stuff.
What was the preview that you posted?
Glad you asked. This?
Yeah.
What is this?
Yeah, what is that?
That's a retailer review copy for Turok Empty Souls. So this went out early to shops. So what I'm assuming is because Turok 47 is the last issue in the run. This does not end as a final issue. It ends. It just there just wasn't a next issue kind of thing, which is super duper heartbreaking. Y'all have no idea how much that killed me to not get the complete closure to the plot threads that were happening. That broke me. that's why I went and actually have these. They did 2 issues of it's literally called the original Turok Son of Stone, and what it has is 3 Dell stories in it, and they did 2 issues of this where they're just recolored, just like what Rob Liefeld just did with Youngblood.
Yep.
They're the original art, but they're recolored and relettered, and then they have a new cover put on them for the Valiant era. So I read those, and then after that is when the next era comes in. Now at this point in time, in outside of comics, the video game had exploded. They came out with Turok for the Nintendo 64. If you look at the video game cartridge, you see the new Turok. He looks like a younger guy. He's got the little eyepiece that goes up and down. He's this Turok, he's not that traditional older looking middle-aged gentleman with like the blue vest or anything like that. It's this guy. So I think they sent these out to potentially encourage comic shops to go in on the next series, because that's all it is. This is a black and white newsprint preview of this.
Okay.
Which this is the variant for it. This is the one that we had that we didn't sell before I had to rebuy all this stuff. But I had to rebuy the A cover, which will be coming in sometime soon. But this is really cool. And Fabian, however you say his name, Fabian, not Deadpool creator is how you say his last name.
Right.
He wrote it. It was actually written really, really well. But dude, when I say it's different, it is so different. But there's some, I don't know, I like so much about it. And they retcon, they reintroduce, and then they create new all at the same time for this version of Turok. And then it's just different. And then they do things like make poor covers. So this is what you read next. It's like a series of one shots and miniseries, right? So this is what comes right after Empty Souls. And that looks corny. It looks campy. Just 90s scantily clad women, them in the Lost Land. This is a very freaking serious issue. Like hardcore, like this cover doesn't know justice. You're running people off with covers like that. At least nowadays you are. But they were really aiming for a younger audience, and it definitely showed. Because there's a lot of stuff in there like sex humor and Turok, Joshua Fireseed, he's like a ladies' man kind of thing. So you have like the girl leaving the dorm with her butt cheeks hanging out the bottom of his shirt and tripping over his best friend who had to sleep outside because he got locked out of his dorm room so Joshua could get some tail. And he's like the savant sports guy but doesn't think really well. That's why he needs his nerdy sidekick. So instead of Turok and Andar, who he's training to be like, a noble warrior, respect and love the land, find that balance with nature, you literally have the jock and the nerd who are best friends, and together they make a competent human being. But it plays out really well. Right. And in Spring Break in the Lost Land, which is the second story, because they're oversized one-shots, they introduce the concept that Turok is not just a person. It's a title that's passed down to the oldest male in the family, and it's their job to protect the incursion zone from Lost Land to our world. And in passing conversation in the second one, someone mentions to Joshua about Tulsek, the most noble and the best Turok there ever was of any of them, which that's the Turok that you've known this whole time. And he's like, oh yeah, I know him. I met him back in the Civil War last week. I ended up flopping through time. So they didn't even print these in order, because that one came out, and then this Time Walker series comes out where the two Turoks meet. So I'm interested to get to this ASAP and see how they kind of fold it in together. But I can go on all night. All night. There's one thing I can do good right now is talk Turok.
There you go.
Kind of my thing. This Turok journey is a great example of why I'm on the internet. Can we continue the story under the title The Real Turok the Dinosaur Hunter? Yeah, it's so good. I can't recommend it enough. And not just like someone checking out Turok, but I put up a post. If you're curious about something from back in the day and you kind of always had that little interest for the character, lean into it. Go enjoy, live in that fandom while you have the hype there. It is so worth it. But it ain't stopped. I got all kinds of stuff on the way. They did these the stuff that's based off the video game, but then they kind of like had numerous times where they relaunched Turok as just a mini series under Dynamite and stuff like that. There's a 5-issue mini series that's unrecognizable as Turok outside of the name alone. And then there's one that's a 12-issue maxi series that Bart Spears does the covers for all of them.
Yeah.
So I ordered all 12 of those last night. So I'm trying to read them in order. And then as I get through all these, I want to just like see about like trying to grab some of the older ones that are they're not cheap. They get the old. It used to be you could find them at dollar bins and stuff, like a lot of the old Dell and Gold Key stuff. Not anymore. Not anymore. But we'll see where it all leads. But I'll keep everyone posted.
There you go.
I don't see an in sight. But Blade Forger number 2. Sorry for the Turok tantrum. But this was fantastic. We get introduced to Owada's kid, who's been grown up to be obedient, but is definitely rebellious. Hangs out in the Gara Gara, is aware of the troubles that her father has and that he hasn't saved their people. And they kind of introduce this whole analogy of like the animal life they have behind this glass in their house, how they live peacefully back there. And it might not look that way to you, but if you shatter this glass, it would be chaos. And she just wants her dad to be this warrior who rights the ship of the world. And he knows ultimately that in doing so, it would cause the death of tens of thousands of people in the chaos that erupts. You know, it would take war to solve all these problems. And he doesn't want to see all these people die. He wants his daughter to stay safe. And she calls him a coward for living that way. And ultimately, he decides to set out and change the world at the end of this issue. I cannot wait to see the ramifications in issue 3. It's written so well. There's one thing the Miranda brothers do. It's write a personal story, like character driven. I did that no justice. There's so much more that happens in this book, and there's so much more meaningful when it's told through their story and not my summary of it. 5-issue miniseries, Mad Cave Studios. Go get this book. You're only 2 issues in. Get along for the ride. Remind me, I still need to look through my 4-color for you. Yes, that would be awesome. That would be super awesome. Because I got a few of them. I'm going to slowly, I'm just adding that to like the Hulk collection. I'll soft collect it. When I'm out, if they got it, I'll grab it. I'm not chasing it down. There's 120 something issues, and the way I am, I got to read them in order. Got to read them in order. But yeah, I appreciate that, Sledge. Are you picking up Blade Forge? Or are you waiting on it, or are you skipping it?
I'm waiting for it. It's coming in my. Should be next weekend. I should get it probably.
You get a chance to read issue 1 yet?
Oh yeah, I read issue 1. Yeah.
There's a lot in there.
Yeah. I had read issue 1 before we had them on.
Yeah, we get gotta forget her name, but we get to see because Owada from issue 1, who you see become the Emperor. He's an old man now, and his daughter seems like she might be the focal point now. When we had the Miranda brothers on, they said it's going to pop off at issue 3. That's when we shift into what it's going to be. So that's clearly what's about to happen with the way this ends. It's about to turn into the world as they know it is about to change for the worst. And it's going to be like a post-apocalyptic version. I mean, if they do a time jump, especially like, cause like if we see her go from a young lady to an adult woman, what the world that she lives in might look like can be unrecognizable. And it could be just a post-apocalyptic Armageddon style stuff with people walking around with battle kaijus and not knowing if someone's a blade forger. It could be a hidden skill, and you could just, who knows? It's going to be wild. Sky's the limit. Fully have faith in the Miranda brothers. Well, you got any other ones from this week?
I don't think so.
Well, a pretty big week, especially if you read Turok. Huge week if you read Turok. What is up, Darth? What is up, Ruby G?
Hey.
But yeah, good stuff. Oh, did I show you? A collection came in that video. Before we get out of here, I'm going to show off this Legion loot. Since it's next week, we're giving away the Legionnaire pack. So if you're a channel member in the Legion tier, all of these books will be going to a new home. The Dark Knight Returns, all 4 glorious issues. In keeping with the Frank Miller train, you got some of his recent hits with Sabretooth, Deadpool, Wolverine, and Hulk. You got to go a little old and new because, it's a little wild there. So a little Tyler Kirkham love with Spider-Boy and Star Wars. Some Gabriel Del Otto love with the all-new Venom and Dark Crisis, but that Venom is signed by Gabriel Dell'Otto. And then some Herculoids Love with a little Linsner cover, and we can't forget Mark Spears. So it's kind of like an artist spotlight. But this was in a collection that just came through ABX, and I'm like, that's crazy, because just the day before I got the slab in, which I grabbed this one because I wanted something signed by Frank Miller for the giveaway. And I had never seen this book before, and it reminds me so much of his art style from the Sin City days, which
absolutely
just absolutely amazing. So freaking Zorro preview edition #1 from 1993, signed by Frank Miller in the CGC 9.4. And the fact that this came in that collection just days later, this is the issue 0 to the same series. And on the back cover of this, it features an ad for that book. I thought that was awesome. So I figured that'd be a pretty dope Legionnaires pack there. Legion loot, the Frank Miller signed stuff, Lindner, Mark
always
Spears,
impressive.
signed Gabriel Dell'Otto, Dark Side Gabriel Dell'Otto, Tyler Kirkham, and again Frank, and then the big shebang as well to go with the slab, the entire Dark Knight Returns set. So check your memberships. That's next Sunday. During this show, we'll draw for the channel member winner. Got to be in the Legion tier to be on the wheel. But in that stuff that came in that collection, I rebought this Street Fighter book from my childhood that I sold mine to Panda. Found this cool Jurassic Park Raptor. This Mortal Kombat God and Thunder. A Turok #1.
What?
Yeah, there was one in there. This is actually probably the crispest copy that I've seen. The corners round, but the colors are so bright on this one. Very vibrant. Max Mini Comic #2 from Wizard. Was it Wizard? Yeah, Wizard 51. And then the really great get was the 5th print for Man of Steel 18. Yeah, the DC logo variant. Yeah, it was a great little haul. Yeah, just a couple dollars get you there. But it was my first Man of Steel 18 in the 5th print.
Wow.
Turok 1 isn't the only book I buy multiples. So there's a couple of them. Just kind of fun to do. And I think there's a Superman 75 in there. So I'm catching up to the Man of Steel 18s. Yeah.
That Jurassic Park one, is that that's not the George Perez Gil Kane issues, are they?
I'm not sure. I didn't even think to look at the creator credits on it. No, Englehart, Gill, and Barris.
Oh, Gil Kane. Oh, Gil. Huh. I wonder if that's Gil Kane, actually.
Steve Englehart, Armando Gill, Del Barris.
I know it's a Topps book, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I know that one of them might have been the first one that they did. George Perez and Gil Kane did some of the artwork.
That's pretty cool. I'm surprised you don't have it if George Perez did it.
I'm working on it.
Let's go. Check out Cheddar's Comics on Instagram. Taylor Winder put me onto his page. Great guy, does Instagram sales, but here recently he had 3 CGC signed. I don't know. I didn't even stop to look through their sign by, but he does live sales, and whatever doesn't sell, he posts up, just claim it, whatever left over. And there was 3 CGC Jurassic Park 1s signed of different grades. One was a 9.8, one was like a 9. So like, I'm sure that those 9.8s can probably get pricey with a book like that being but worth the look. What is going on, Stephen, with the sleeves? What is going on, Bruce? Hello. Yeah, that's going to do it for the night. I appreciate everybody popping in. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up. Check out Sector's channel. We'll be deep diving on the We Were Yesterday and the Absolute books, 10 a.m. tomorrow. Don't miss out on that. And we're going to go record that video right now. So until next time, as always, I'm Mark. That's Paul. And we are Legion.